Every month if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you get a selection of free games. Sometimes they are fantastic AAA single player games that are associated with Sony like Metal Gear Solid 5. Other times they can be smaller games like This War of Mine that are still good in their own right. And this is a tier that Bound sits in. But is this a game that is worth your time? When you first start Bound, you're greeted by an ugly looking model of a pregnant woman heading to the beach. I don't mean she's ugly, I mean her model looks horrible. This worried me because I did not want to look at character models like these for the entirety of the game. Luckily, it doesn't last very long because you are quickly and without warning thrusted into the actual game. You play as a child ballerina trying to defeat this evil entity. How exactly does a ballet dancer fight off a giant monster? By dancing, of course. What are you, stupid? Does that not make sense to you? I'm just joking. The gameplay is actually very simple and there's very little here in terms of difficulty. You walk around avoiding obstacles and make your way through the very linear path. There are little nooks and crannies you can find that hide special little rooms, but they don't really add much. It's just a room. The obstacles that you avoid take the shape of little triangles and long geometric arms that cling to you, making you significantly slower if you don't avoid them. There's no real consequence beyond you moving slower. You don't have a health bar or stamina that depletes over time, and that brings me to my next point of who this game is for. I didn't realize this game was made specifically for speedrunners until I reached the end of the game and saw the speedrunners menu. It's apparent that the reason that the game isn't difficult to get through is because it's all about speed, and unless you're a hardcore speedrunner that really focuses on trying to get the shortest time possible, you're not going to find this game difficult. And you can tell that they put in a lot of effort into gearing this game towards speedrunners because in the actual credits of the game, a big section of it is special thanks to professional speedrunners for helping them optimize the game for, guessed it, speedrunners. And that really helps me understand why the game is the way it is. They focus most of their resources on that aspect of the game and kind of ignored the other aspects. First, let's talk about the places they did do well. The animation of the ballet moves are really good. It actually looks like a ballet dancer dancing. The way she walks and the way she jumps, everything about the movement of the character conveys ballet, even her clothing. Graphically, the game is split. The reality portions of the game looks horrible. It's bad, I'm not going to sugarcoat that one. But while you're in the geometry world, it looks really good. There's simple shapes, but the way it's constructed makes it look really appealing. A big portion of helping these sections look breathtaking is the lighting. They did an amazing job with that, and it really brings everything together. The music works really well with this art style. It's sort of a classical piano techno mix, and it's really well incorporated into the game. Beyond that is the story, and this is where it stops being good. For me, story in a game like this is everything. If I'm playing a game like Call of Duty, I'm not expecting Shakespearean writing. Journey is a really good example of story being implemented into a game without dialogue. There are cutscenes that show you the rising and falling of their society, and scattered throughout the game you can see remnants of their lost world. This game does not have that. It's a story of a woman that has been estranged from her father since she was a child, and now that she is about to have one of her own, she decides to track her father down to make amends. The alternate world is supposed to symbolize her as a child and the troubles she went through and how she decided to cope with her parents getting a divorce, that being dancing, ballet to be more specific. And the different creatures and obstacles represent people in her life as a child and also the emotions she went through. You can avoid all these obstacles in the game by dancing, just like she would have had to in her own life. Now you may think that sounds pretty deep, it's not. The way they decided to give you this information was so pointlessly convoluted that it completely took away from everything it was trying to do. You see flashbacks of her as a child and these scattered renderings, but you aren't sure what's going on until the second or third of these flashbacks. Then things start to click, and this does not work at all. They were so focused on trying to be artistic and philosophical that they forgot to put any emotion into the game. You don't care about any of these characters, you don't care about the kids in the stories because they never gave you a reason to. So in the end, you're left with the reaction of, oh, it was a story of kids whose parents went through a divorce. Now it may sound like I just spoiled the entire story to you, but the only reason it sounds like that is because I did. It's pretentious garbage hiding behind well-made graphics and music. Bound is a very disappointing 3 out of 10 and is not worth the 1.96 gigabytes of space on your hard drive, even with the free promotion.